rhinoplasty, facelift, the eyelid lift. So when I go back in October, it's going to be the lower facelift because I got the mid last time. It's going to be the lower facelift and the neck lift and a little bit of a brow lift, and then it'll be done, and I will be satisfied from there, and then I can continue to age. I'm fighting it a lot, and I want to stay as youthful feeling and looking as I can for as long as I can, but I'm not going to. It's not something I'm going to continue to do over and over and over and over and over again. Was it safe to travel by yourself? So yes, it was very safe. It was very easy. I got a direct flight, and which that's what I'm doing this time. I want a direct flight. I want it as seamless and easy as possible. So I also talked about how it was lonely. It was a lot lonelier than I had expected it to be. After the surgery, so I was there for 10 days, and I enjoy being alone. I need my alone time. I'm an extrovert, introvert, a lot of times more introvert than extrovert. So it's really important to me to get that alone time. And it's actually been an area of growth that I've been working on. And so when I came out of surgery, and was in pain a little bit. I didn't have that comfort of family and friends right there, so that was difficult. Also, there is an 8-hour time difference, and so to be able to connect with my loved ones and my friends, it was challenging because of that time. It was painful. I talk about that in the last video as well. So there was some extreme pain. They wrapped the face pretty tight to help the swelling. And so once the bandages came off, it was not as painful at all. With those bandages were really, it was awful. And then the nose, they had for the rhinoplasty, they stick cotton swabs up your nose. And so you can't breathe out of your nostrils. And so for the first 4 days, I had that. And so you have to sleep with your mouth open. And so it's incredibly dry. Plus, the medication I was on was incredibly drying. And so I had to wake up like a few times an hour just to swish with water and keep my mouth hydrated. And my taste buds felt like a cat's. It was so thick and so dry. It felt like a cat's tongue. It was pretty crazy. So there was that. I had a nurse that I paid. There's a service, and you can pay a nurse to come with you for however long you need. I had her for three nights. This time I'll only have somebody for 2 nights. I don't think I need 3. I was ready for her to go, but she wasn't that helpful because she didn't speak as much English as I wanted. So, or that would make it more comfortable for me. So this time going back, I requested a nurse who actually speaks better English. So that's taken care of. I picked my own hotel this time, and so I'll be happier with that. Let's see, what else can I tell you about that? I will have some movies downloaded and maybe Kindle selections so that I have something to pass the time, so I'm not just laying there. I mean, I have Wi-Fi out there. I just didn't think. I just wasn't to be honest, it was a little bit traumatizing. So because you come out alone, and there's a language barrier, and then you're in pain. I was in pain, and so for me, I was slightly traumatized coming out of that and not knowing what to do and how to feel and just feeling nervous. I wasn't happy with the hotel, like location of the hotel. The room was great and fine and everything. People were fine. It was just a little nerve-wracking for me to not have it be more to my expectation of what that was. So this time it will be different, and knowing what I know now coming out of the surgery, just mentally and emotionally, what I have ahead of me, now I can better prepare. So people were asking me about what I went through emotionally, not just physically, but emotionally. And so I have to, share that part of it with you is for me, there was something that happened in my past in the 90s that I hadn't remembered. And that was an incident where I was taken advantage of uh, at a bar after my friends had left. And so I did not have a memory of anything negative happening to me that evening back in the 90s. And in fact, how I remembered it consciously was that there was a gentleman there who was very kind, and I all of a sudden wasn't feeling well. And it was surprising to me because there was no reason for me to feel as woozy as I was feeling. And he offered to follow me home to make sure I got home safe. And so I had always been super grateful because he was behind me. He called me on my phone, on my cell phone, and he said, "Hey, I'm not driving great. Why don't you pull over and let me drive you?" And I said, "Okay." And so he took me home, and I remembered being in the parking lot, and that's all I remember. And so for all these years, that's how I remembered the event, as a very nice gentleman helping to make sure that I got home safely. And the next thing I knew is I woke up the next morning and that I had lost my car. And I don't want you guys, this is I know it's a little bit of a deeper story. I'm okay now, but, but at the time I wasn't okay. And so when I woke up in the morning, I had lost my car. I didn't understand what had happened. Literally, wherever I had parked, I didn't remember. I had no idea what happened from that point on. Um, and in fact, I had called the police it was actually a friend's car. And I was supposed to pick them up from the airport, and I didn't have the car. And I was very, very embarrassed that I had lost a car. And so I called the police and reported it stolen. And then I ended up finding the car really right, and like a memory had come back of where I might have parked. I had a friend take me there, and so we got the car, canceled, the report of it being stolen, after I had the memory of that I had parked. And and then that was that. Except I was very different after that. I and there was no explanation of why I was feeling so afraid to leave my house. I was feeling so afraid to be around s- strange men that I didn't know. I really I was really different, and there I had no explanation for it, and so I went a lot of years. So back to Turkey, when I came out of anesthesia, and there was a male nurse, there was a female nurse, and I woke up and I was out of it. You know how you're coming out of anesthesia, you don't know what's going on, things are fuzzy. I'm there in Turkey alone, and I open my eyes and I see these people and I hear the voices and I see a face above my face that I don't recognize and hear. And I immediately started to cry. And I immediately felt terror inside. And I wasn't sure why. My blood pressure spiked. And that's completely unusual. That has never happened to me before. I don't have high blood pressure. So they gave me medication. I'm asking for my cell phone to call my husband. I was I was a pretty hysterical mess. And the surgeon and the nurses were so kind and so comforting. They just were very sympathetic. They stayed with me for 4 hours until I calmed down. And I called, they gave me my phone. I called my husband, and he comforted me. I mean, part of coming out of anesthesia, I guess, can affect people that way. It's never affected me that way ever before that. And I, had some surgeries. I had a reduction. I had a disc surgery on my neck because of some pain. And, so that had never happened to me, super unusual, and so that was a very unusual circumstance for me, and I think very out of the ordinary, and then so when I got home, went into my little cocoon to where, okay, I'm home and I'm comfy and I need to feel comforted, and so I did, and so it wasn't until probably 2 months later, I was watching a show called Lioness. If you guys haven't seen it, it's amazing. I love it's on, is it on Paramount? I think it's on Paramount. It's really good. Anyway, I was, up binging this show, and, um, there was a scene of a woman in a bar and a man, and he had drugged her drink, and we saw this as the audience. She didn't know. She sipped her drink, and then all of a sudden, she started feeling woozy and out of it. And he walked her out. He was acting like he was helping her and walking her out. And then we see as an audience, that she sort of, passes out or whatever. And in that second, in that moment, what happened in the 90s all came back to me. It just flooded. I saw the face, I heard the voice, I felt my body there, unable to respond, trying to make noise, unable to make noise. And so I luckily had already had a counselor because I had been in therapy, and I recommend therapy. I think it's really great and helpful in a lot of ways, and you have to shop around sometimes to find the right one, but it's worth it. Anyways, so I had somebody already that I could talk to about this memory that had come back. And anyway, it took a lot of processing uh, through that. And that memory, which after, and actually, it was a relief to know what happened because it explained so much of what didn't make sense that had been locked in me that I had been going around for years. Like, I feel like there's something there I'm not quite getting to, and I don't understand it. And so it gave me a lot of understanding and really allowed me to move and make strides that I hadn't made before. So when I came to decide last minute, like I said in my other video, I think things through for a long time, and then all of a sudden I strike and I do it. And so that was the case. It happened that tickets to Turkey were it was the best price in October. And you can get a ticket for, I think, 605 for between $400 and $600 each way to Turkey. Uh, if you're not flying first class or business class. And anyway, so it was the best price. It happened to be that I could go, and it worked out, and I was just ready to do it. And I was super excited to finally get on, finish the second phase of the cosmetic uh, surgeries that I was going for. And so I was really excited and booked the trip. And so I booked the trip, and then actually the anxiety hit me, and this was 2 weeks ago. So then the anxiety hit me again. A little bit of that PTSD came flooding back, and I, felt some depression, I felt some anxiety, I felt some not I still was gonna go because I'm not gonna let fear stop me from doing anything. I'm not going to be ruled by fear. I'm going to face it, and I'm gonna move forward. But so for the past 2 weeks, I've been a little more quiet because I've been going through this and trying to process and figure it out as much as I can before I go and fly out. So somebody asked, where multiple people asked about the emotional cost, in addition to the financial cost. And so that I guess would be the highest cost, but I that's an unusual story. I recommend, if that's something you wanna do, I mean, go for it. Don't let fear stop you. And I chose the surgeons wisely. I knew people who had gone, and, I did research as far as that goes, and, so yeah, I don't regret it. I think overall, it was a very healthy experience, and And I have that experience to thank for my emotional and mental growth. And since then, I feel like I've made strides and strides and strides. And I talk about, looking at people online, the creators who I just admire so greatly because they step out and they're not afraid. They just say what they're going to say and they be who they are. And that's something that since the surgeries and since going through that emotional and mental uh, cathartic experience, I've been able to move closer to that than I've ever been before. So, um, yeah, it's an amazing experience that I definitely recommend and would do it. So people ask that. Let's see. Were you afraid of being judged or misunderstood? And no, I mean a little. There was family who questioned, why I would want to do that, and I'm like, hey, it's because I want to. And I was okay enough with myself at that point, uh, the most okay with myself as I'd ever been to say, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do it, and I know I'll be happy. So, um, let's see. Uh, so that's what made me say enough. Like from a young age, I had an idea of what I think we all do. We have different tastes and ideas of what's beautiful, and to want to accomplish that, I think I always wanted to do it, and so to finally be able to do something I've always wanted was amazing. Let's see, how much was this about changing how you look and how you feel? And I'd say they equally played parts. How I look and how I feel, they're intertwined. How I feel physically, how I feel emotionally, how I feel mentally, they're all tied together. So I don't think there was uh, I feel like going through the physical change was just the completion of a growth phase that I had been in for a very long time, and I'm continuing on, I'm not done, and I've got a tremendous amount of growing to do, and it's fun, I'm enjoying it, and, let's see, so did you love yourself before or did you wait until after? So I feel like this was an act of self-love. For me, doing this, and I know some people will think differently, like if you love yourself, you won't change anything, and I don't think that's true. I For me, that's not true, and it was an act of self-love and an act of uh, definition in a healthy way for me to advocate within myself for something that was important to me. So I think I had to get to a place of self-love to feel like I was worth it and worthy of an investment of time, of an investment of energy and emotions, an investment from my family who supported me, my husband and my kids supported me. They teased me, especially my sons teased me an awful lot, and it was fun, and I love a good teasing. But anyway, so let's see, how did childhood trauma affect the relationship with your body? I don't think that affected um, affected my relationship with my body. I'm still exploring that. I felt like that was a really deep and really good question. And so I guess I don't have an answer yet, and I'm still working on exploring that question within myself. What inner work did you have to do alongside the physical? I shared that. There was inner work to do. So it brought, like I said, brought up all that stuff, and I'm glad it did. Let's see. Did changing your body heal your heart or just bring new layers to light? That experience healed a portion of my heart that hadn't been answered for a long time, and it brought new layers to light. So I think we're all doing that through our lifetime. We see new layers, we discover new layers, we shed old layers. We're just If we're lucky and we have that mindset, we're just willing and excited to grow. So let's see. Um, how did you manage the pressure to always fix something? So I think that's one of the last questions. This is something that I've been working on, not just with my body or my appearance, but of life, right? Always, I feel like America sometimes, or people, humanity, we can get in this constant state of discontent. And this is something I had to deal with in myself. I recognize like I'm in a constant state of discontent, not just even with myself, but with other people. Until I got healthier with myself, I couldn't stop being discontented with other people or critical of other people. But when I became content with myself and where I am and who I am, it was easier, and it is easier to be content with others and to be content in whatever circumstance that I find myself in at any given time. And not that it's always graceful or beautiful when I'm going through it, but there's always something to fix. I think there, but when you look at it with less of a critical eye, you can address it with grace and dignity and honor. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to come from a negative place. So people ask me if there's other things I would do if I had like all the money in the world to go do like overhaul. I don't think I would. Um, I don't think I would. That's what I wanted, with more from, well, the breast reduction, I guess, so from here up, was good. I definitely want to be in better shape, and, I'm still working on not having to fix everything and, look at everything. I can be pretty OCD, so I'm not, like, clinically OCD or something like that. Um, I use that term loosely, but I can be pretty, so, for example, if I'm putting on deodorant, please put on deodorant every day, Teresa. I do. But when I put on deodorant, I have to, so this is so weird, you guys. I have to like do the same amount of strokes, and it has to feel as deodorized or covered on both sides. It makes me feel not comfortable if it doesn't feel the same on both sides. So that is like to have perfection. I'm a perfectionist, and I think that's really good in one area. You can't have it in, you just can't be a perfectionist, and you have to be okay that things aren't perfect. And so that's something, and when you stop looking at yourself and expecting perfection from yourself, I feel like then that outflows into others, and you don't expect perfection from others either. So that's a work in progress. I've made so many strides, and so it's still something I'm working on. My house being super clean, I really like it clean. It used to be, uh, so if there's too much clutter, I can't stand that. But and I like to have things clean. So I used to be a lot harder on my family if they didn't like help me just clean up after yourself. Anyway, um, I'm a little better now. I think they'd all say that, but I still insist. I just insist. Just please keep it clean. I let's see, would I do it again? That yes, yes, and yes, and I'm doing it again. I wanna know what you guys want me to document, okay? Because the face, I have a picture, I think I have it on Instagram, but when it's in bandage and then when I pull it off, it's kinda scary, and it's, graphic just because it looks, like, awful. So I wanna know how deep you want me to go. If you want me to do lives while I'm there, um, I can do that. I mean, I would do it like it's an 8-hour time difference, so it probably will be around this time would probably be a good time for me to do it there. Do you want to see pictures? Do you want to see videos? Do you want to hear how I'm doing there? I mean, that would be helpful for me. Then I wouldn't feel like I'm all there by myself. But let's see, just let me know. You can send me a DM. You can email me too. The emails on both YouTube and I think Instagram. That's where people sent their questions. Um, and so you can just let me know privately what, too, if you feel more comfortable, and don't want to leave it in the comments. Let's see. What advice would I give to somebody thinking about surgery abroad? I mean, if that's what you want to do, I think you do it. Like I said in the other video, you have to take a electrical, um, converters are like they have European plugs over there. So I didn't have, a way to charge my phone, so I had to have the driver help me go, find those converter things. That's really the only thing. Pick your own hotel if the surgeon has a package, and make sure like it's a hotel. You look at Google Earth so you can see the neighborhood that the hotel's in. Same with Airbnb, guys. Use Google Earth to look at the neighborhood because it's super helpful. I've done some Airbnbs where it looked great and beautiful, and well, just one Airbnb, and I didn't Google Earth, and I got there, and the neighborhood was a little bit sketchy, but it was fine. The house was fine, but anyways, that's something that's important to me. Let's see, Google Earth. Let's see, they deal in cash over there, so there's that conversion thing that the credit card, so it's easier to go get your traveler's checks or have it converted. Um, let's see, what surprised you most? Just the amount of growth that it opened and blossomed for me. And what does beauty mean to you now after everything? Well, it's not after everything. I think beauty is an ongoing construction project, right? Because it's not just about the inside, it's what's about the inside. It's not just about the outside, it's about the complete picture. Like, you could have a strong structure, but you've got to enjoy that too. And so you can have a beautiful structure or a beautiful looking structure, but it be flimsy on the inside. And so I just think that's just an ongoing thing that there's beauty, and the closer that we get to ourselves, and to, if you believe spiritually, which I do, to your God, and to that connection, that spiritual connection that you have, whatever that looks like, the more beautiful you become on the inside and out. So that covers the questions that I said I'd answer, and I've been promising a long time. And I was afraid I wouldn't get to it, especially after I made the appointment and scheduled it, and then went through a little bit of a rough patch for 2 weeks. But I'm coming out of that, and I'm super excited, and I'm super excited that you guys were able to join me here and help me test this simulcast stream on YouTube and on Instagram, and then I'll figure out how to put it on replay. And I'll just keep getting better and better and better at doing this. I keep watching my favorite people, my favorite creators, and I learned from watching them so much. Support them, love them, be gracious to them and to yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.